but I think it was the first movie to do it. It was a movie called Equilibrium with Christian Bale.
I love that movie.
And it was gun kata.
It was essentially, I think that movie came out either right before or right after The Matrix.
Yeah, it was
came out the same year.
It was very close.
I love that movie.
I was surprised that, and we've seen like gunfighting in other movies, but it hasn't really. It was never on that level for me. And maybe there's another movie out there I've never seen, but until John Wick, I really didn't see that on which.
Well, the only one that you could compare it to, especially at the time, was The Matrix.
Yeah, and they're good movies. I don't really know the new one. I'm excited about it.
I have one reason not to be excited about it, and that was that
it's a continuance.
Matrix. Well, and it's a completed story.
Yeah,
that's what I don't like. And the fact that supposedly somehow Neo and Trinity and Morpheus are somehow going to be coming back in, I'm going like, well, of the three, the only one still alive is Morpheus.
I love this trend. First, it was, and it became really at least for me, like growing up, it was very popular for TV shows not to have an ending because they always thought they were going to have another season.
Right.
And so, and you kind of started to see that in movies when trilogies started, like when Lord of the Rings was so popular, everybody had a trilogy.
But Lord of the Rings had a reason for a trilogy, which was it's 3 books.
Yes, but everybody started doing these trilogies and started leaving everything open-ended, and everyone was like, please give me, if you're going to end something, even if I don't want it to end, give me an ending. Yep. I remember being a big part of everything. At least for me, I was always like, if you're going to end something, give me some closure. Give me some character closure. Don't have to give me but end the story.
Give me the main character's closure.
Then they started doing that, and now we've almost reversed our role and gone, wait. Well, don't end the story. Just bring it back. Don't like, they're doing the same thing. It was announced with
Personally, I haven't reversed.
You haven't reversed? I haven't reversed either, but we're seeing it at like.
Oh, you mean mainstream?
Mainstream. Like, because I feel like, and maybe I'm wrong, but I'm feeling like back then, 10 years ago, and maybe up until recently, and still people may feel this way, but it was mainstream that people were like, give me an ending. Like, we started to come to a point where it's like, at least in TV, it was, give me an ending. Like, stop giving me open endings.
Yeah, allow me to be satisfied and not pissed off.
Especially when you're doing an episodic television where it's like, we're getting invested slower because we've got to digest a lot more story time before we get to any like real climaxes. Don't just leave us hanging after 6 years or whatever and never closing that story, because we all know it's never going to come back. But now it's almost like you should have done that because everything's coming back. Men in Black, I know they didn't do the original story, but that semi-counts. Harry Potter, they announced that their original cast is coming back for another movie. They did it
what?
They did it with I don't know. They did it with Star Wars. They brought everybody back, even though for the most part that story had ended. But they're like, hey, remember all these guys you loved? They're back. Let's see, what else did they... Indiana Jones is coming back.
Well,
everything that had basically an ending.
Yeah, but here's my answer for that is that Hollywood is losing ideas.
Or nobody's giving them new ones.
No, people are certainly giving them new ones. No one is willing to go with a new idea.
Well, but that's why these streaming services are becoming so popular, because Netflix will grab it.
Because they're going with they're all their new
Disney
stuff,
Plus will grab
and
it.
they become huge successes because of that.
Apple Plus will have it.
Apple Plus is gonna die. This is the same thing with Google Plus.
No,
Google Plus doesn't exist anymore.
Was there a Google Plus?
There was a Google Plus. It was supposed to be another social media site.
That's interesting because
that disappeared so quick.
That's interesting because it has nothing to do with streaming services, but they have YouTube.
Yep.
Why even? why even mess with the formula there?
They didn't have YouTube at the time. And Google Plus was supposed to be like another Twitter or Facebook. And it died real quick.
I don't know. They've got some great actors debuting some shows on Apple Plus. Not defending the point or anything, but just saying like.
Oh, I'm not saying that Apple shouldn't try it. I'm just going like there's gonna become a point, and this is why I still love Netflix above pretty much all other streaming services. Is the advertisements.
Well, it's interesting that with Disney Plus, all you're getting is like left, right, and center is what they're buying, what they're going to be putting on their streaming service, all the avenues they have, all the resources they can pull from,
right.
da 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 da.
And apparently, if you have Amazon Prime, you get Disney Plus for a year.
Really?
I heard that somewhere.
Because I have Prime.
I do too. If it's true that you get it for a year if you have Amazon Prime.
Because right now, if you have Apple Music, mm-hmm. the student version, you also get Apple TV Plus, which I was like, I wasn't bagging on Apple TV Plus, but it wasn't something that I was seeking out because I've been waiting for Disney Plus. No offense, Apple TV Plus. I just love Disney, and so I wanted Disney Plus. I wasn't, and that's the other problem. I would love to have Apple TV Plus, and I do. So I will probably now watch the shows because I have it. Why wouldn't I? But at the time, and I think for a lot of people, it's going to come down to like your choices, because not everybody can afford all these streaming services.
No, essentially it becomes you're back at cable pricing.
Yeah, if you have them all, for sure. Yeah. I mean, between HBO, Disney Plus, Apple TV Plus, Netflix, and if any of them do anywhere close to what Netflix is doing, of course they're going to raise their prices.
YouTube Red.
Red. What's another? And a lot of them are free.
Verve. It's another
Verve. Some of them are free, but you have to watch ads, like the CW. There are a few of them like that are free, but you have to watch ads. CBS is coming out with a streaming service.
Really?
Yeah, they have like an online platform like right now. Like you go to CBS.com and watch things, but apparently they're coming out with a CBS thing.
I understand the point of advertisements. I personally cannot stand them.
Yeah, I also
again. Let me reinstate this. I understand the point of advertisements. I really do, and I understand when people need to use them in order to make revenue and everything like that on their channels or whatever, and have everything like that. I just don't like them.
Do you like them more in the YouTube podcast setting? Where
they're the ones that actually do...
And they utilize the project?
I don't mind that because it's still part of the show. If you know what I mean. It's still...
Yes.
Like, they're going like, let me tell you about this really quick. We'll get right back into what I was talking about. But let me give you this. This is something I use. This is something that I feel strongly about. So let me tell you about it for about a minute. And then we can get back to it. So I don't mind that one. But it's when all of a sudden... But here's the problem. It's the ones that I have a problem with are the ones that all of a sudden pop up in the middle of whatever you're watching with no warning whatsoever.
Oh, the sneakies.
And at that point, I get pissed. Because I'm going like, you cut them off in a spot that you're going like, in the middle of a sentence or whatever, or you cut them off. It doesn't matter where you cut them off. It just irritates the crap out of me.
Yeah, that's always been the problem with cable. Is it?
Here's the weird thing about that. Cable's whole purpose when it first came out
was ads.
Was no advertisements.
Was no advertisements. Interesting.
That was the reason. YouTube. Yeah, that was the reason to buy cable. Was that you had no advertisements. But that was why people did it.
You can't generate that money. Again, it comes down
like, money talks. Again, it always is money talks.
And advertising is a multi-billion-dollar industry. Why wouldn't it be? How else are you going to get anything sold?
Yep.
And I'm not just talking like TV advertisement, but advertising, you don't get anything sold.
But that's why I can't watch TV anymore.
Yeah, but I think with as more and more like interests go with like
and why
podcasting,
I still love Netflix because they don't do commercials.
Yeah. Yeah, or with like, or Amazon does it really well too. They do it all up front, and that's it. I don't mind that. It's all up front. You know what you're getting into, and then it's done. There's not gonna be a pop up.
It's still the fact that all of a sudden they started doing it. Again, that was my problem. It was the same thing with YouTube. Was all of a sudden
they had advertising.
There were advertisements. You're going like, whoa. I never signed up for this.
Yeah.
When did this start? Why is this a thing?
And I get that.
So, again, like all of a sudden, like I remember I was streaming on Amazon because I got Amazon Prime. I'm streaming on Amazon, and all of a sudden, like I go the next day, I go to one of the shows that I wanted to watch, and I click the thing. All of a sudden, I have 30 minutes to a minute, or 30 minutes. 30 seconds to a minute.
I was like, what did you click on?
Yeah, no,
that was a long advertisement.
All of a sudden, I had 30 seconds to a minute of freaking fast-paced advertising for a lot of the shows that they have on their streaming service. And all of a sudden, I was like, oh, no.
Oh, it's just...
And I'm going like, I pay for Prime so I don't have to deal with this crap.
It's only a matter of time before they start doing, like, Amazon products.
Oh, God.
And not just, like, their TV shows. Although, if it wasn't for some of those TV trailers, I would have never found some of those shows. Like, I never would have watched The Boys or Carnival Row. Fantastic.
Well, here's the thing. Here's why I like the way that Netflix does it, is that when you first get in there, unless you go immediately to your list or something like that, you know, it gives you
trailers,
new releases, trending, popular on Netflix right now, things you've watched before, and and goes down like that, and then you can kind of put your cursor over it and watch a small little thing of it and see if you might be interested about it, or you can go to the next one, see if you're interested in that one, and it's not something that it's forced on you. It's not something that they push on you. It's something like, maybe you might be interested in this. Why don't you, look at it for a second and decide,
I like
or
that
go
it gives
down
that
to
little snippet.
Yeah. So why doesn't Amazon do it that way?
And it's also nice when you start watching the snippet. If you watch it for too long, it goes, "Oh, you want to watch this?" It just starts playing it for you.
Netflix figured out how to do it without it being an advertisement.
I just wish on Netflix that when you search by categories, that there was a way to, like, when you're in a category, to change all the titles from, like, newest to oldest. And then not as permanent.
Anyone from Netflix watching this?
idea. And not as a permanent, because I also because sometimes, like, I would imagine that they do it by popularity or most viewed that day. I don't know how they do it.
I think most of the time they just do it alphabetically, don't they?
No, because like if you go to or
do they go by most popular?
I think it's most popular because when I go watch when I go to the stand-up category, it'll have stand-ups, but they're not in order chronologically, and they're not alphabetized. And you can tell because one it'll be like brand new 2019, and the next one will be like from 2013. So I think it's popularity, but some of them it doesn't make sense because like some of them that were super popular like are nowhere to be found anymore, and I don't know whether that's because I watched it and it's no longer in my because it's like, oh, you've already seen this. Here are others, because like I've seen.
Well, here's the thing, Netflix. One thing that that does make me sad with Netflix is that something that you love watching, that you put in your list or whatever and stuff like that, and all of a sudden you'll come back one day and it'll just be gone.
I used to watch, because every month they have like a Netflix, I don't know where they do it, I usually just like search Google for it, but they usually put out like, here's what's leaving Netflix in the fall. And I used to be really up to date with that, because
I'm never up to date.
See, and I don't want to say that they did that for like when they were about to like do not Netflix, but like when YouTube was about to do advertising. I don't know if they had like a similar thing.
Right.
They probably did, and that's the other problem. There's so many sources to find things that like you're not like, somebody could post, hey, YouTube's gonna do commercials starting May 15th,
right?
And it could be in 2 locations that are not
you'd never see,
because now things are targeted to where if you don't look at certain things, it's not going to show you certain things anymore unless you go on a treasure hunt, which is why I think I've kind of defaulted into like trying to defend the opposition, because
I think that's a good way to think, because that can also strengthen your own argument too, is that you think of what they could say against your opinion.
Yeah.
And then you have to come up with more stuff to strengthen your own opinion. Know thy enemy.
Know thyself. Woo, I don't know what that book is. Why is that like what's that like famous book of
which one
war?
Are you The Art of War.
The Art of War
by Sun Tzu.
Yeah. I was like, he's gonna know the book, but he ain't gonna know the name. He knew both. What were we talking about?
Just advertisements. We got really sidetracked again.
That's fine. I like when that's what I look forward to the most when we do these. Is not necessarily getting sidetracked, because that would be a pointless venture. Oh, let's start a podcast where I just try and steer you off course. It's not a premise for something. Hey, you want to talk about this thing? I'm going to spend the whole time trying to get you to not talk about that thing. That's not what I was going for. But I do like that the conversation, that it's more alive than like...
It's an expansive conversation.
We went from, but I feel like, but that's normal. If we were like take away the cameras, take away the microphone, 2 people talking on a couch,
That's exactly where a conversation goes.
Exactly. Yep. You're going to jump around. You're going to go, oh, that reminds me of this, and this. Oh, and that reminds me of this, and... I said the same thing twice.
This, and that. You could have said that.
This, that. It's like there and there. Remember when you were a kid and you were trying to...
There's 3 of them. There's 3 of them. There's THERE, which is like a place. They are, which is, THEY apostrophe RE, and then there as in personal, their possession, THEIR.
Correct.
And it
There's
took me
English for you.
so freaking long to actually fully understand that. And now that I do, I know how to write, which is nice. I actually understand what I'm now doing. When I write a story or something.
I misplaced those so many, like again and again and again. Like
what I had to start doing, this is how I did it for myself. Is I simply had to go, before I even wrote the word, I had to go, okay, is this personal, a place, or are we talking about a group of people? I always have to ask myself that when I write the sentence, because I'm going like, if it's a personal thing, then it's, okay, it's this one. Yeah. If it's a place, it's this one. If it's a group, I've gotten very good at quickly doing that now. Yeah. Because when I started writing,
I used to just hope that spell check would get it.
They won't, because if you spell it correctly, you're right. But unless you have the grammar setting as well.
However, nowadays, because it was like, I don't know, it was like 2 years ago. This like website thing came out called Grammarly, and it was like the super sophisticated. It would do more than Word could ever do in the spell check arena. But you had to pay for it. It was like a service that would check your documents.
Well, here's the thing. You apparently have to pay for Word, too, so...
Yeah, well, but you pay
As
for
a
the
subscription.
whole
but
caboodle.
it's a subscription. I think it's a once-a-year thing that you have to pay for.
It is a once-a-year thing.
Which is why I use Google Docs.
I do it because it's required for school. So and I get you get Word, Excel, PowerPoint.
Right.
There's more than those three, but those are the only three that I've ever used.
Well, here's the crazy thing. This is what I found really interesting about Google Docs is, you know how in Word, if you put in a name or if you put in a word that it doesn't recognize, like it puts a little red thing under it,
yes.
and you're like, no, this is the actual word. Please ignore it. Google Docs, because it's set up through Google,
of course it is.
They're going to know all of these different things because there's going to be websites, there's going to be mentions of them, there's going to be this thing.
It's
so I was
like
writing,
Google Maps.
I was writing one of my. Bear with me, I was writing a fan fiction, but I started writing in the characters and everything like that, and it didn't prompt anything. It actually prompted because I was writing what the person was known as beforehand. Until we learned their actual name later, and it wanted to correct me to their actual name. I was like, "Whoa,
that's awesome!"
It's like, "Do you mean actually this?" And I was like, "Well, yes and no," because at this point, it's supposed to still be this. So I was like, "Wow, that's really cool." So I like Google Docs very much.
Yeah, well, and I mean, Word's come a long way.
And it's free.
They can now because now my writing method, and I've explained to you this before.
I don't know how we got into writing for this conversation.
And it's probably not all that exciting. Like, get out of here, you're writing. Delete. I don't know. Don't delete this. You could learn something. You're not going to learn anything. This is all stupid. We just went through the 3 versions of there. I don't know, like what else what you're looking for here.
Speed Racer.
Not a bad film. A long film. A very, very long film.
And this has turned into a very long video.
Yeah, only if we stitch the first half with it.
The first half hour.
Could you imagine we just leave that alone? Like, we post that one, and then we'll post this one, of course. This one, but we'll like separately. And so all you hear is at the end going, "Oh, no, get the power cable. We're going to fix this." Click.
You don't get anything for another week.
You don't get anything until you see the next video. It's like, "Hey, welcome back. I'll just stitch this to the old one." No, you won't. We know your games now.
You better stitch the old one.
Maybe not after this conversation. Because now it's like because now I'm torn. I either stick to what I said at the beginning, or at the end, I just let it go. I'll probably let it go.
No, don't do that.
Because now people are going to get to the end and want it to be this way.
No, they're not.
One guy will. It'll be me when I'm rewatching this later. I'll be like, I should have not stitched it.
Oh my god.
Alright, well.
You could always do part 1, part 2. I just gave him an idea. Crap. Oh god, we gotta watch that first video though. Because it's gonna look all janky at the end.
Yeah, that is gonna be weird. I wonder.
We're gonna hear all the audio, but it's gonna look. It's gonna look like that.
It'll be the only time I was able to pull off robotic dance moves. When the camera helps me out. I love that this just like. That's the dumbest thing I've said all night. And trust me, I'm with you folks. I've said a lot of dumb things. But that was the pinnacle. And is that why you're laughing? Because it's this. Good night, everybody. And that's the show.
Oh my god.